The sixth and seventh senses are secret. The sixth and seventh vowels are uncertain. All is the same symbolism. And in this, the ancient Jews, the sun and moon, as the parents of the world, the marriage of the sun and moon producing man, as symbols of these sixth and seventh bodies, which later will be clarified through the release of these perceptions after man attains the sixth and seventh level of consciousness within himself. But the fact that man must accomplish this by universalizing his own nature is indicated in Buddhism, Hinduism, even in Christianity. For universal consciousness, cosmic consciousness, true development of illumination, or the complete perfection of the mystical experience, means that the consciousness of man moves from the 5 planetary levels which can be reached with the senses to the 6th and 7th, which belong to the sun. For the sun is the Messiah and the mystery center of the solar system, and the 6th and 7th degrees of consciousness have to transcend matter, whereas the other 5 are within the power of matter. So these calculations were made long ago. We wonder sometimes how they were made, but they were. And they have survived to influence every thought we have had since. Now some will say, and perhaps with a measure of sense of justification, therefore, that when we explain all of this, we are only going to explain the way man thought in the first place, and we still have no way of knowing whether it's true or not. That even if man had all these conceptions, are these conceptions valid? I think the answer to that lies again in our effort to understand how these conceptions came into existence. What is validity? Is validity to be based merely upon a physical scientific approach to a subject which cannot be so approached, and for which we have no instrument of any kind? The moment we transcend the phenomenal experience of living, we are out of the sphere of science. We can go far off into space and hunt for the orbits of other planets, but we are still on the level. We are not escaping from the 5 zones which belong to planetary consciousness. To escape from those zones, something has to happen inside of us. We have to find the mysterious door in heaven, which John found, and proceed out of the sphere of effects into the consciousness of causes.
When you first got here?
This is your 6th and 7th mystery. And in the human being,
When you first got here?
the 6th and 7th part of his own energy field he shares with all other human beings. That is why it is possible for man to attain not only brotherhood but identity. This brotherhood cannot be attained on the lower levels. But if man has a certain experience of consciousness, he can become unified with all others of his kind, because in every species, the 6th and 7th part of the septenary constitution is shared by the entire species. Thus we all move from individuality to universality as we ascend. Man seeking for these integrities, for these values, can therefore only find them by the personal experience of these causes. So this brings us to another interesting group of analogies. The ancients believed that when the law, the Torah or the Veda, or whatever you want to call it, was placed into the hands of the great messianic teachers, of which 7 are of particular interest and integrity as the founders of the great religions of the world, that these powers not only fashioned the bodies and structures of these religions, but as one of the old Rosicrucian adepts symbolized in an ancient work that he did, he represented this mystery by by 2 interlaced triangles in the form of a 6-pointed star with a dot in the center. In each case, he placed one of the planets in the center and the other 6 in the circumference points. And changing the center one each time, he found that with 7 he could bring all of the planets once to the center, and then he would have a circumference, and in no 2 cases would the circumference be exactly the same, because a different one would be in the center. This, he said, was the ancient arrangement or order of the astro-mystical theology of the ancient religious systems. In antiquity, they did not